Okay, we continue with Sefer Shoftim. We're in Perek Yud Daled, Pasuk Hey, chapter 14, verse 5. Shimshon now is beginning his journey into the land of the Philistines. He sees a woman in Timnas, and he tells his parents he wants to marry her. Although they're trying to dissuade him, he says, "She is good in my eyes." And the parents didn't know this is all part of the subterfuge for Shimshon to be able to plot against the Plishtim and wreak havoc upon them without getting retribution back to the Jews. Pasuk Hey. Vayered Shimshon va'avi v'imna mo Timnasa. So Shimshon went down with his father and mother to Timnas. Vayavo at Karmei Timnasa. And they came to the vineyards of Timnas. Now a vineyard can pose a problem to a Nazir. Nazir is not supposed to drink wine. Now technically, there's nothing wrong with a Nazir going through a vineyard. There's nothing wrong with going through a vineyard. It's not doing anything. And the truth, and technically, and that he shouldn't be eating grapes and things like that, which a Nazir has to stay away from wine.
Can't eat grapes?
Well, really the real issue is on the wine, but once you're getting into grapes and wine, etc., you're going to get into all kinds of problem. So therefore, Shimshon, we'll see in a minute, was very cautious, and we're going to learn from Shimshon not to go through a vineyard. The angel did not say you couldn't go through a vineyard. The angel only said he can't drink wine and anything against grapes. But we'll see in a minute that Shimshon takes upon himself an added stringency as he's getting into a very dangerous mission. He has to be extremely careful about his spirituality. So they're coming upon a vineyard, so the parents are able to go right through the vineyard, to cut through wherever they have to go. So the Malbim explains that since he felt he didn't want to go through the vineyard, and he wanted to be extremely stringent upon himself, so he took a detour around the vineyard. And by taking the detour around the vineyard, therefore his parents would not see what was going to happen in a moment. And a big event happens. V'nei kvir arayos shoeg likraso. A young lion roars towards him. So his life is in great danger. So, again, he got himself into this trouble. We'll see if it's trouble in a minute, because he was being extra careful upon himself not to transgress his Nazirus that he has. So therefore, the Torah is emphasizing how he figures if he's going to be so careful not to sin in this area of Nazirus, so then if he won't even enter a vineyard because of grapes, so how would he enter any kind of trouble with this Philistine woman, which is totally forbidden? So, in other words, Shimshon was very convinced that whatever he was going to do with this Philistine woman was totally for the sake of heaven, not for his own narcissistic pleasures at all. So he's getting himself ready for this. Now, obviously, this Kvir Arayos, the young lion, is very symbolic, right? Because of his mission is Gur Aryeh, as it says in by Moshe Rabbeinu's blessing to him. So this is all what he's meant to be, this lion, this messianic lion. So what happens in Pasuk Vav? Vatitzlach alav ruach Hashem. So the spirit of Hashem, titzlach. Titzlach comes from the word hatzlacha, succeeded. Very unusual verb to use with the spirit of Hashem. And we see how easily he rips apart this lion. Vayishaseu kishasah hagdi u'mu'uma ein biyado. And he rips it up as he was be ripping a baby goat. And there was nothing except his hands. All he had was his hands. So the Malbim explains the double expression over here. It was so easy as a baby goat, which is very soft and easy to destroy. He did it with his bare hands, without anything else. So why did Hashem bring this event to him at this time. We'll see there's many reasons. The Malbim explains right away is that he should know immediately that Hashem is telling him that, you can succeed against this enemy. You can succeed against this enemy because I'm giving you the strength, showing you you're able to do this. This is reminiscent of what other story that we know in the Navi? Sorry?
The lion?
Well, wouldn't say it's necessarily lions, but to show someone that he has strength. David HaMelech. He was a shepherd, and a lion and a bear attacked the flock, and David killed them. So from this, David understood that Hashem could give him strength that was necessary to help the Jewish people. And when Goliath blasphemed the Jewish people, and everyone was afraid to fight against him, David wasn't afraid, because Hashem showed him that he had the ability. So similarly, Hashem is showing Shimshon that you will have the ability to succeed. You have the strength necessary to do this. And the unusual word, vatitzlach, which means to succeed, showing that Hashem's Spirit came over him. The only other places where it says vatitzlach, such an expression, is by Shul and David HaMelech, where it's referring to the spirit of prophecy. So obviously his strength was derived from this Ruach HaKodesh that came to him. So now there's a big debate amongst the rabbis, what exactly was the symbol to show him? So on the simplest level, as we said, according to the Malbim, he's saying, you see, you can be successful. It's encouragement from Hashem that you're doing the right thing. However, the Alshich learns the opposite. He says the attack from the lion is a warning against Shimshon, saying you're going on a very dangerous journey, and I would suggest you stop. However, Shimshon, on the other hand, since he came out unscathed, and it was relatively easy for him to destroy the lion, he picked up the wrong message. And the message he felt was, see, I was successful, and I will be able to accomplish it. It's very hard to read the divine signs, and therefore we shouldn't make a business of trying to understand, what's the Bashert? It must be Bashert, Hashem wants this, Bashert, Hashem wants that. You see, great people like Shimshon could be confused in understanding what is the real message. Now, according to the Alshich, we have to understand, so how is this different than by David HaMelech? By David HaMelech, when the bear and the lion attacked, then it was obviously a good sign. And here, according to Alshich, it's not a good sign. So the answer is that the lion and the bear did not attack David. It attacked the sheep. And David could have done like most shepherds would do. Stay away. And just report back to the owner what happened, as most people would do. So here, Shimshon, the a lion, attacked him. So that would be the difference. That, it's an attack on you, and therefore you have to stay away from this. So there's an argument exactly what the divine message was to him. Certainly Hashem was showing he has strength, no question about it. So Shimshon certainly picked up that strength would serve him well in what he had to do. Now, we will see in the next pasuk, really in this, but I didn't finish this pasuk, right? So at the end of this pasuk, you see a very important thing. Now, what would you do if you, remember, the parents went right through the vineyard, he went around the vineyard, must have been great distance around. While he's there, the lion attacks him. The parents did not know about it. Now he reconnects with his parents. Would you tell your parents what happened or not?
Of course.
Yes.
Wow, look, Ma, Dad, look an amazing, I got to tell you this amazing thing. That's not what he does. Pasuk says, he does not tell his mother and father, what happened. Now why he doesn't tell them, we will see later on in this parak. One of the reasons why he does not tell them, and but we can also speculate that he didn't want to tell them about it, because obviously there's a little bit of arrogance could come out of a person who talks about this, and he had a lot of humility, because he didn't want to tell them he was worthy of a great miracle, and to not show off. Now you could be sure that Shimshon understood that the path he is taking now to marry a non-Jewish woman, and again to make it look for all intents and purposes that he has left the Jewish faith, this is going to be a great embarrassment to his parents. It's going to be a great embarrassment to his parents. And he could even be, he doesn't know, but he could maybe even be outcast by his parents. And it would be a good idea, maybe go tell his parents that Hashem did a big miracle for them. But he didn't want to. And this shows his humility. Also shows another thing, that just like a Nazir is not supposed to drink wine, because one of the aspects of wine is nichnas yayin teitzei sov. When wine goes in, the secrets come out, right? So obviously, the Nazir is meant to keep secrets. So part of Shimshon's success would depend on to the degree that he could keep secrets. As we will see in this chapter and in subsequent chapters, his downfall always is he tells his women his personal business. And this is a great lesson to always be learned. For all people, you be very careful who you tell your secrets to. Very, and especially, and no offense, but especially to women. I'm not saying, people, you could trust, you think you trust the woman, this and that. I mean, it could be the reverse too, but you got to be careful. And a Nazir, especially, since his whole mission is this guerrilla warfare, he has to be very secretive about everything. So he really has to learn not to tell these things. He has to hide his real identity even from his parents to a great degree. So he has to get used, and that's the kind of thing you want to tell. You want to give your parents nachas, right? Look, Hashem did a miracle for me. Look at the nachas you're getting from your son. That I'm worthy that such a miracle should happen to me. And it would give his parents a lot of joy also. But he knows he has to be careful not to tell any secrets. His whole life has to be that kind of way. And again, this is not very different than David HaMelech, which we're not going to go into great detail now. We'll save it for Sefer Shmuel. But David HaMelech was an outcast from his father. His father did not think he was his legitimate child. And so many other things about David HaMelech that people always thought negatively about him. And David HaMelech didn't tell anybody. And this is all part of the humility that a person has to have. Part of humility requires a person to keep secrets. And the most important secret is how great you may be. You don't have to share that with all kinds of people. So really, if you think about the tremendous sacrifice that Shimshon is making, Shimshon was a nice Jewish boy and probably always had dreamed of growing up and marrying a nice Jewish girl and having a nice Jewish family and learning Gemara with your son at night and going to yeshiva and all these wonderful things. And out of his love for Hashem, he has to go into the most disgusting place imaginable. And to be able to make such a sacrifice, you have to be a humble person. Humble person figures, Hashem knows better. Hashem understands what my mission in life is. Who am I to criticize and question what Hashem wants for me to do in life? And if this is what's required, this is what's required. And I have to be able to go here, and even the greatness that I have, I can't even share with anybody. I can't share with my parents. And this fits in very well, because the Zohar says that the Mashiach has to have the virtue of humility. And through that he will be able to subdue the arrogance of the arch enemies of the Jewish people, which will be Gog and Magog. Similarly, Moshe Rabbeinu was the humblest of all men, and he was the instrument to subdue Paro and the arrogant Egyptians. So, same with David HaMelech. David HaMelech says, I'm a worm but not a man. So you have to have these qualities. So Shimshon is showing it right now by not telling his parents. Okay. Pasuk Zayin. Vayered, again, he goes down. He keeps going down. Pasuk Hey was Vayered. Pasuk Zayin is Vayered. He's going down. Vayedaber lo isha, and he speaks to the woman. Vatishar be'enei Shimshon, and she was good in the eyes of Shimshon. So the Malbim learns from over here that now he really goes out on a date with her. Before he only looked at her at a distance.
What is the name of this woman?
We do not know. And Reb Tzadok, no, we do not know her name. And Reb Tzadok says we're not told her name because she wasn't a very good person. So you don't have to mention. We don't know her name. The Navi does not tell us her name. The Navi does not tell us her name. That means we need not know her name, and she has very little virtue.
like Mrs. Noah.
Right. So he speaks to her to see if she is now good in his eyes on different levels, in terms of intelligence, in terms of character, and also the Malbim adds, does she have a love to him? Will she connect him? And he said, and in all these areas, he saw she was straight in his eyes. She would be the right one for him. Okay. Pasuk Ches. Vayoshov miyamim lekachto. He returned after days to take her. We'll have to see what that means over here. Now, since by the way, in Pasuk Zayin, just to go back, so the Targum and others say that it's not necessarily that he spoke to her, but it says he spoke regarding her. So he asked other people about her to find out about her. According to that, you see how less involved he wanted to be with her. Doesn't really matter either pshat. He wasn't really engaged physically with her yet, so he was still at a distance. Anyway, the custom was, it says now in Pasuk Ches, Vayoshav miyamim. He came back after days. After days usually refers to a period of a year's time, and some say that was the Jewish custom, that between the engagement and the wedding, you wait 1 year time for the bride to prepare herself. As well, according to, and it also says, okay, we'll see in a minute. Since he goes to marry her, that he wants lokachas, so to take her, so he wants her to really convert. That was we discussed last week. So if she's going to convert, she's going to need a little time to study. So certainly a year's time for her to review what it means to be a Jew and to fully accept upon herself to being a Jew would be necessary. And as well be necessary for him to have 1 more year preparation to get himself as holy as possible before he really has to engage with all these people. And so that was the situation, the waiting for the year, and now coming back. Likachto. Likachto means to take her. In Hebrew, in biblical Hebrew, means as marriage, a real legitimate marriage, which means as she converts. So now he's going back. So on the way, so what's happened? Let's go back from Pasuk Zayin, where he decides she's good for him. The Pasuk doesn't say. He goes back home. He stays there for a year. Pasuk Ches, he comes back. Now he comes back, and look where he goes. Vayosar, and he goes off the regular path. Liros es mapelas aryeh, to see the fallen lion that he killed a year ago. Why does he do that? The rabbis tell us that if a miracle happens to you in a certain place, you should always go back to that place, and as we've learned, and that you make a bracha to Hashem, you bless Hashem and thank Him for the miracle that He did for you. So he has to keep focused to what his mission is, and everything that miracle represented in that mission. So he sees an unusual sight. V'nei adas devorim bigvias ha'aryeh udvash. And it's a congregation of bees swarming around the carcass of the lion, and there's honey coming out of the lion. So this is indeed a very miraculous thing, because most lions that are killed in a year's time would certainly have rotted by this time, and it doesn't seem to be a spot where bees would usually congregate to make a hive or a honeycomb or whatever. So it's quite an unusual sight that he's looking at over here. So again, he realized this is a miracle, and he figures that Hashem is providing him with the first tool to be able to attack the Plishtim in a successful way, based on the campaign that he's about to embark upon. Okay, what else we got over here? Well, the Malbim have to add anything? Yeah, just to make the bracha. Right. Okay, good. Okay, next pasuk test. Vayirideu al kapov. So then he takes some honey, scoops some honey off with his hand. Here's his first mistake. Vayelach haloch l'chol, and he goes and continues to eat. Vayelach alaviv velimo, and then he goes to his father and mother. Vayita lahem, and he gives to them vayochelu, and they eat. And now the Torah emphasizes v'higid lahem ki mikvias aryeh rodah hadvash. He did not tell his parents that where he got the honey from. He didn't tell them he got the honey from the dead carcass animal. Why doesn't he tell the parents? You have to wait and see. We'll see by the end of this chapter why he did not tell his parents. Again, the idea of secrecy, but here the Malbim speaks out specifically, as our rabbis tell us, that since he came to take the Philistine woman, and we will see in retrospect that he makes a mistake with her. He does not succeed with her, and therefore he already has begun to stumble, because what did he do that was wrong? He wasn't allowed to eat anything that was tameh, that was impure. And right, the Mal said to the mother, don't eat anything that's impure. He has special restrictions of a nazir beyond what a regular nazir was. So he eats something that was tameh. So the Gemara says he lusted for something that was tameh, for impure. So Hashem gave him something that was impure as well. So already beginning again why he did that.
No.
Why he justified that? Hard to understand.
He took her before, though.
He didn't marry. He wasn't with her yet.
But she's getting ready.
He wasn't with her yet, and we'll see what he should have done and what maybe he didn't do. Okay? Again, if you're using her as a trophy wife, literally in the sense as a trophy to hang on the wall, okay, then that's one thing. But to be more involved with her is another story. So he stumbles along the way. So it's very strange. The Meforshim don't explain over here. Maybe before we're finished we'll get more insight. But from the Malbim it appears he did a wrong thing. Like, why did he have to eat it? So it's interesting. The only other time that's coming to my mind when something a little bit like this happened was when Yonasan was out to battle with David HaMelech. And when they were fighting against, I think it was the police, it was almost everybody who he fought, and David made a vow that nobody should eat anything until the battle was over, and Yonasan didn't hear this. And Yonasan went, and he was very instrumental in the miraculous victory over the police team, and then they were fighting all day. He was so hungry, he took a little bit of honey. And they found out about it afterwards. David was going to kill him. You didn't keep the vow that I made. He didn't know about it. The people persuaded him and got him off the hook. It's the only other time, to my mind, it's coming where someone ate some honey. I don't know what the connections are, just to keep meditating on these things. But what's he doing over here? Obviously, he's going to use this in a minute, but why he had to eat from it, it's questionable. So the rabbis are saying, well, he already came to do something that wasn't going to be 100% proper. Could be maybe Hashem made him stumble on this to realize maybe you're making a mistake, maybe last chance to back out of this. Not 100% clear. Anyway, Pasuk Yud, again another descent. Vayered Avihu Elisha. So his father goes to the woman, not the mother. The father's more engaged in making sure that this marriage takes place properly. Vayas Sham Shimshon Mishta, and Shimshon made a feast. Kikein Yasa Bachurim, because that's what the young men before they got married did. And the Malbim explains exactly what was going on over here. That the custom was that the father of the chassan lets the people know that the marriage is eminently going to take place, and they should prepare themselves. Now the year is up, and we're back, and let's get ready. And first the chassan, the groom, makes his own 7 days of partying before the marriage. And then afterwards, after the marriage, then it's the 7 days of Sheva Brachas afterwards, which we will see. This is where the Malbim explains. I'm sure there's others who explain differently. And the custom was also make the party with your friends. So in other words, there's 7 days of feasting before the marriage, and then 7 days of just a chassan by himself with his buddies, and then 7 days afterwards with the regular marriage, with the regular Sheva Brachas that happens. Again, this is his most important moment of his life, normally, getting married. And who's he spending it with? A bunch of Philistine friends. It's not exactly the greatest environment to be with. So let's continue. Pasuk Yud Aleph. Vayihi kirosam also. So it was when they saw him. Vayichu shloshim mireim vayihu ito. So he takes 30 friends, as it were, and they are with him. In other words, people who create a friendship with Shimshon. He creates a friendship with certain Philistine guys. Now, again, the word ito is very instrumental. Ito as opposed to imo, as we know it many times. Imo means totally together with a person, in thought and mind, and not only in deed. And ito means not really for the same intent and purpose. One is primary, one is supplementary, but they're there at the party with him. So they're there for the party. Shimshon is there because he has some very interesting plans, and this is the beginning of step one of the terrorist activities of Shimshon. Yud Beis, and this is how he starts up. Shimshon says, let me tell you a riddle. Im hagei tagidu osali, if you'll be able to tell me the answer to the riddle. And how much time do you have? Shivas yemei hamishta, there are 7 days of the feasting, meaning not only these 7 days, but by the end of the next 7 days. So there's 14 days. Giving you a lot of time to come up with an answer. And you will find this answer. And we'll explain this all in a minute, what this word finding is, has to go over here. So if you win the bet, as it were, I will give you guys 30 linen sheets and 30 suits of clothing. In other words, I'll give each one of you 1 linen sheet and 1 suit of clothing. I'll have to cough up 30 because there's 30 friends, obviously, over here, and I'll give it to 30 of you.
Well,
And
where did he have chalifot in his
he didn't have
Why is chalifot with me?
a suit, a brand new suit.
Give gold, you give silver.
Oh, I
Where
guess-
did the silver come? What, small fruit?
Well, that's what he offered them. I don't know what the symbolism over here is, but that's what he's offering to give them. You'll each get a nice linen sheet and a nice suit and whatever. It's a nice thing. Okay? V'im lo tuchlu, Yud Gimel. V'im lo tuchlu lahagid li, and if you're not able to tell me the answer to the riddle, then each one of you will have to cough up a linen sheet and a suit, and I'll end up with 30. Okay. They said to him, okay, go tell us your riddle, and we will hear your riddle. So Malbim explains a little bit over here. So he says, so he gave them not only the first 7 days, but the next 7 days. So during the first 7 days, you could try to figure it out, like work it through, discuss it, and you'll see what else they'll have to do. And in the 7 days, the next 7 days, that's the time you got to tell. In other words, I'm not asking you to tell me the answer to the first 7 days. So you're going to have to do research. But then when the second 7 days start, that's the time where you can begin to say the answer. You have until the end of the 7th day. Now the Malbim explains that this riddle would be impossible for them to figure out. No way. Because, well, you'll see in a minute what the riddle is going to be. There'd have to be a Navi to know what happened. Because it's going to relate to the lion and the honey. Okay? There's no way they're going to be able to figure this one out. So what really is happening, Mom doesn't say this, but what's really happening is he's making an unfair bet. You tell him, okay, we're going to make a bet. Okay, I'm going to tell you a riddle. Okay. So if you got a riddle, like what do they say? What's the longest word in the dictionary, right? So they say, smiles, because there's a mile between the S and the S. But at least a shtickle chachma you have to have. Okay, if you could figure that out, you could come. Your brain could think of it, but your brain can't think of it. How are they to know that he killed a lion? He didn't even tell his parents. And the only way you can figure the riddle if you knew that would happen. You'll see in a second what the riddle is. So when he wins the bet, they're going to get angry at him. You understand? And then they're going to pay the bet. They said, "What? You're not paying the bet?" Now he has an excuse to kill him and to make trouble. So you understand? And obviously when Hashem brought the lion to him the first time, and now he sees the most unusual sight of the honey and the bees coming from the lion, he says, this unusual thing, I'll be able to use this as a tactic to what's going on over here. So that was probably Shimshon's original plan, and obviously he's doing this to make trouble. Go get married to the girl, right? Obviously the girl, it's all an excuse. You get married. So of course, if I'm going to get married, we're going to have a party, and I'll get with all the local no-goodniks, and we start drinking and this and that, and then you start making bets and all these things, and that's how usually trouble happens when you deal with the local riffraff. So he's just figuring, how am I going to be able to make as much trouble as possible? And they're going to think it all comes just from Shimshon. It's all a personal issue between him and them. So that was the deal, and obviously he made it a very difficult deal. And he's saying, Umatsasam, you're going to have to find it, you're going to have to look around and find, the solution to this. Now Malma says, the whole thing was not fair, really, in many ways, slanted against him. Because it's 30 guys against one. 30 guys thinking about it. There's a lot of energy, mindful energy trying to figure it out. And even if they lose, they only have to pay one. It's not a big thing. Well, he's going to have to end up paying 30. And he gives them a lot of time, 14 days. So on the one hand, he really is giving them a sweet deal. But they don't realize, and therefore they're going to willing to take this bet. It looks like it's an easy bet. They don't realize how impossible he made the circumstance. So let's go on to Pasuk Yudalet. Here is the riddle. Vayomer lahem, he says, here's the riddle. Meha'ochel yotzo ma'achol. From the eater, the one who eats, came out food. Ume'az, and from the place of power and strength, yotzo masok, came out sweetness. Right, so we understand what that means. From the eater, the lion, what happened? Came out food, because he became food for the beast. Right, and from the place of power, the lion is powerful. Yatzamasal, came out sweetness. So that's a very nice riddle to make up from the story that happened. Now, how in the world could they figure that one out? There's no way you could figure it out unless you would have come across that lion in that particular spot, which was probably in the suburbs, far away. They'd have to really go through the whole place. They don't even know what they're looking for. They're looking for something sweet, right? So obviously this was an extremely difficult riddle, and therefore in Pasuk Yudal, they couldn't come up with the riddle for the first 3 days. There's no way they could come up with it for obvious reasons. So this is the first 3 days of the first 7-day party. They were thinking and they couldn't figure out a way to come up with it. Now it's interesting why, we have to think for a minute, we'll get the answer in a second, what's going on in the next pasuk. The next pasuk is very tricky. Pasuk Tesvav. So if 3 days they come with a solution, well, they still got 7 days. Now the Navi is saying they didn't come with a solution in 3 days. So how do you understand the next verse? Tesvav. It was on the 7th day. What do you mean it was on the 7th day? They said they couldn't figure out the riddle for 3 days. It was on the 7th day. What happened? Either they didn't understand the riddle for 7 days, and it was on the 7th day, or if you don't understand the riddle for 3 days, it was on the 4th day. Do you understand the disconnect? Yeah. For 3 days they couldn't figure out the riddle, and now it was on the 7th day. Vayomru le'eshes Shimshon. So they go to the wife of Shimshon and say, Pati es ishech. Go seduce your husband. Vayagid lo es achida. And he will tell you the riddle. And if you don't do that, now you know kind of chevra we're dealing with here. Pen nisrof osach, lest we burn you. Bes beis avich beish, and the house of your father in fire. We'll burn you in your house. Your father totally will just destroy you. And now they give a complaint. Hali yorshenu karasaman alo? Did you call this guy here, Hali yorshenu, from us in Rush, to make us impoverished? You married this Jewish guy to make us poor? We're going to lose the bet. We're going to have to go to these things. It's kind of like your fault. Right? So that's what they do. So,
one each.
but of course, that's the Philistine. Well, in their mind, they think they're right.
They get for a wedding.
Right? So anyway, so the Malbim has one way of looking at this. He says it's on the 7th day from when he told them the riddle, which is at the end of the first set of 7 days, and now it's beginning of the next, and the 7th day is the bridge to the next 7 days, because they do call her his wife. Pati es ishech. Go and seduce your husband now. So he's your husband. And now that you're married to him, you'll be able to find out, because I guess for the first week he was away from her. He was away from her, so maybe you'll be able to figure it out from him. So now what did they ask for? So the Malbim says what they wanted was, it says, they say, Vayaged lonu es achito. What is literally what the words mean? Vayaged lonu es achito. What does those words mean? He should tell us the riddle. What does that mean? What they asked was, go tell him to give us the answer and call off the bet. Right? In other words, tell him it's not a fair bet. You weren't fair. Get the answer from him, and then when he tells you the answer, you can say, how can you expect them to know this? Now you go and tell them the answer and call off the bet. And that, and that's not such an unreasonable demand. In other words, they figured this must be crazy. This must be, just get him to call off the bet. Now, other commentaries learn a little bit different over here, that they say that the seventh day was Shabbos. It was on Shabbos. And they're saying this was already well into the wedding feasts. It was already, the first 7 days were over. We're now into the second week of the wedding feasts. And this is the Yom HaRevi'i also. How is it the Yom HaRevi'i? Because we know the rabbis say you're supposed to get married on a Thursday. On a Wednesday. Supposed to get married on a Wednesday. That's the old custom was to get married on Wednesdays. A virgin gets married on a Wednesday. Why? Because the courts are open on Mondays and Thursdays. And in case the husband finds something that's not proper with the woman after the wedding night, he can go to the court on Thursday and divorce her. So that was the custom. But so we got married on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Shabbos. It's the fourth day. So it was on the fourth day. Now the bigger question is, and this is what's being asked with this question, is how are they able to go to his wife without him being with her? They're married. Can you imagine? Go the old-fashioned non-Jewish idea of the honeymoon, right? Right. So usually the husband and wife are together in the honeymoon. Usually, at least for that first week, they're together. Right? It'd be kind of rare the husband, go on a honeymoon. The husband goes to work. Right? In Jewish law, especially, the husband cannot go to work for the 7 days. So how are they able to get to her?
I thought it was the first 7 days that they made the bet.
Okay, but they made the bet, but how are they, first of all, they're getting to her and to get to him. How can they get to her to get to him if before the 7 days they're not even married? They're not together, but if they're together, they get to her. So someone forced them to say very simple. They got to her, what was the 7th day? It was Shabbos. It was the 7th day which was Shabbos. And how could they get to her? Because it's Shabbos, Pinchas went back home. Shimshon went back home. There's no way you could spend Shabbos in a Philistine city. Because Shabbos is still Shabbos. So he couldn't take the fact to be with these lowlifes on Shabbos. It's not like a Shabbos Sheva Brachos in a Jewish world. So the Shabbos, he had to be away from them. So since he told his wife, listen, I'm a Jew and Shabbos is important for me, and I'm not going to, it's not in the spirit of Shabbos to be in this place. So I have to go back home. So since it was Shabbos, they were able to get to her. Very interesting.
It's not in the spirit of Shabbos to be in this place, but he marries her.
I understand. That's all. What he has to do, he has to do.
He has to do it.
What he has to, he has to do. But still, Shabbos is Shabbos, and that would keep his spiritual strength going, that he won't fall into worse things.
And also, I agree with what Jeanette said, but if one suit, you're going to burn a woman's house.
They're Plishtim.
What's the suit?
You know what? I think in L.A. they shoot people for parking spots.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay? What does it take for one heathen to kill another heathen already? Is it usually, you stole $50,000 from me? You go back to the Wild West. It's a card game, right? The guy cheats with one card and gets $10. Boom! He blows the guy's head off.
It's their ego. That's the whole point. It's their ego. It's nothing.
It can be,
still, they can't.
Whatever. That's what it's all about, right? So they tell him that you got to get it out of him. All right. So now we move on.
They said that they will call it.
And they say this is called a better, but whatever. It's ego. It's whatever. Maybe whatever it is, even any amount of money, they don't want to lose.
So he didn't live very far from the Philistines then, because for him to go back for Shabbos, it's quite a distance, isn't it?
No, nothing's very far in Eretz Yisrael, especially when you live in Yehuda. Yehuda is southern part of Eretz Yisrael, and it's not far where the Plishtim are. Plishtim are more on the south west coast of Eretz Yisrael, and Yehuda is not that far from there, so he can hop back and make it there. So what happens? Pasuk Tesayin, and Mom says a lot of interesting things going on over here. Vatef Esha Shimshon Alav. So the wife of Shimshon starts crying to him. Vatomer, she says, Raksanesi, oh, I see you only hate me. V'laftani, and you don't love me. I see the love has turned to hate. There really isn't any love in this marriage. Hachido Charata Livnei Ami, you have told a riddle to the people of my nation. Right? They're my nation. It's my people. She feels a very strong connection to her people. Velilo, he got it, and you didn't tell me the secret. I thought we're married. We don't keep secrets from each other, dear. By Yomer Lo, he says to her, Hine lo avi alimi lo higati. Listen, I didn't even tell my father and mother. Veloch agid, and I should tell it to you? Right? Again, and this is the critical point. The critical point is, can he keep the secret? He's got to keep secrets. That's what it's all about. The Nazir doesn't drink wine, don't let the secrets out. Nobody can know anything of what you're doing. And he's trying. He said, listen, I even didn't tell my parents. I'm not going to tell you. Don't take it personally. It's not that I don't love you. I am a secretive guy. So Yud Zayin, now you have trouble how to understand what the next verse is going to mean now. Vateif Galov Shiva Sayamim. She cries for him during these 7 days. Can you imagine? He gets married, and the whole 7 days, all she does is cry. Asher Hoyelam Amisha, during the party, she's kvetching the whole time. Right? So, Vayihi Bayom Hashvi, it was on the 7th day, Vayaged Lo, he finally tells her. Ki Hetzikasu, she like pressured him. She made it very difficult for him. You know, she oppressed him. And he told the secret, and she told the secret to the people. Now Malbim says a number of interesting things. Number one, she didn't do what they asked him. What they asked her. What did they ask her? You go tell them, the secret, and call off the bet. That's not what she did. She went and said, you tell me the secret. And then what did she do? She told them the secret. And what will happen tomorrow is they will say the answer to the secret, which will only get Shimshon more upset, and really it works out better for Shimshon. Not only is it a question of calling off the bet, now they cheated on the bet. They cheated, and now they cheated. Now he has even a better excuse to go and kill them, or whatever he's going to want to do, you'll see, because cheating is to ask to call off the bet is one thing, but to cheat, now that's already, so the Malbim says Hashem put in her mind to not do exactly what they asked, to even make it easier for Shimshon to escalate it. Now it's interesting, the Meforshim do say that the Mesusa says what was the real pressure she made is she refused to be with him. Now that's what did it. Now here's the big problem. Shimshon never really was supposed to be with her. Okay? He could have got married, and better yet, he should have taken advantage of the fact that Hashem was giving him the ability to not have to be with her. He'd have to do some funny explaining to her on the wedding night. I mean, what he should have done is married and said, I'm sorry, I'm impotent. You know, I'm a nice guy, we can have a platonic relationship. And that's what he should have had. But whatever, you see, he begins to slip, and I guess he figures, well, part of all this is to be intimate with her too. It's the ultimate sacrifice, and I'm sure in his mind he really thought that's what should have happened. Part of the I'm ready to sacrifice, I got to be with her. That really was stepping over the line, and ready, you know, I got to be with her, and he wants to be with her, and then once you want to be with her, then a bit of the lust factor comes in, and she withholds it from him, and then he gives in to that. So what really was Hashem maybe really helping him? She said, I'm not going to be with you. So he could have said, fine. He said, oh, Hashem was giving me a break. If anything, Hashem was trying to help him, make it easier for him to be able to have a way to not be with her. I'll give him a marital spat first night, okay? She's making it right away before he could be together. Says, what's the secret? So I can't tell you the secret. You can't tell me. Get off. Okay, you can sleep in your room. I'll sleep in my room. Finished. But no, it didn't work that way. So now you can see Shimshon is beginning to fall. Beginning to fall. Okay, we'll see tomorrow what he does in reprisal for this.